Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and welcome to the Stewards room, where we'll be taking a look at racing incidents submitted by you guys and trying to make a determination on who, if anyone, was at fault. There's a link in the description to submit your own clips, and feel free to check out the playlist link for more of these videos, specifically the first, which acts as a scene setter. Also, keep an eye out for cards popping up on screen towards the end of each segment where you can vote on who you thought was at fault for each incident. So for episode 10, we're going to be looking at some bad attitudes. Now, we've seen a little bit of this in previous episodes when it comes to some retaliation, but in particular with this one, we've got a number of clips where it's kind of just people not really caring about the rules and not caring about anybody else that's around. So this clip, we're seeing at this point what the question was about. So the person who submitted this clip was basically wondering, is there anything that the Mercedes has done at this point, the Mercedes is the car that we're focusing on, that was, against the rules and not allowed? To basically, is there something that he did that provoked a reaction that we're about to see from the Corvette? Now, this is just, for me, this is ridiculous. Now, if this was, this was an event race, or he was, part of a race where there was going to be proper penalties handed out or something like that, I would be disqualifying this driver immediately. That's what he would get for the retaliation. But let's have a look at the things that the Mercedes does in the run-up to that. Was there something that he did that, was deserving, or not really deserving, because you should never be reacting like that, but was there something that he did that could have, made the Corvette be annoyed? And for me, I can't see anything. So, first of all, we see that the Corvette goes too deep into the corner and runs a little bit wide. That means that he loses speed. So, the Mercedes gets a run on him, is able to get up the inside, despite, having a bit of an oversteer moment because of the speed difference. And then we come up to the corner, the apex of the corner. Let's slow it down. He's easily more than halfway alongside the car. In fact, he's fully alongside. So at this point, the racing line is the Mercedes, and he's made the overtake at this point. He's at the apex first. The Corvette at this point should, accept that, okay, I've made a mistake. I've lost a position from it. Let's try and live to fight another day. But what he seems to do is try to turn into the corner anyway and hit the Mercedes on the back. Now, whether he was doing that intentionally to try and just, knock the Mercedes off, but he basically just, he turns in as if the Mercedes isn't there, which wasn't going to work out. If he'd been a little bit smarter about it, he could have, braked a little bit earlier, got a better run down the back straight, and this, back straight that he fails to do anything on, he might have been able to get back ahead. But it seems like this guy has a pretty bad attitude and can't make a smart decision because he's angry at maybe just losing one place. But yeah, he could have probably easily gotten back up the, at least challenged for the position again if he'd just been a little bit smarter on the previous corner and got a better run out of the corner. Now, the only other place that it's potential for the Mercedes to have had an incident was here. Did he leave enough space? And I just want to quickly revisit the rules of racing document about leaving a space. So the idea being that you can defend your inside on the corner. We've been over this in previous episodes, but you can defend your inside, and then you can pull back to the outside of the track to take your racing line, as long as you leave at least one car width between yourself and the edge of the track, which allows the attacker to potentially run deep around the outside. So as we saw from the clip, the Mercedes is sticking to the inside here, defending the inside basically to not allow the Corvette to get up the inside. And then he goes towards the middle of the road to retake his racing line for the next corner. But, as we saw, he clearly leaves enough space. He leaves more than one car width here. He's got plenty of space, the Corvette, if he needed to run deep. So the Mercedes hasn't done anything wrong there either. And, he gets the move done. It was an overtake in the previous corner. He successfully defends into the next corner. And I can't see anything wrong with the Mercedes at all. So that was the question that was put from the submission in the first place. Did the Mercedes do anything wrong to warrant this response from the Corvette? And my answer would be no. Mercedes was totally fine. Corvette was completely at fault for everything that happened here, and if he'd just been a little bit smarter about it, he probably could have gotten a move done back up into this corner with a better run. So all on the Corvette for this one, but you guys can vote in the top right on the poll. It'll pop up on the card in the top right, and let me know your thoughts down below in the comments as well. So this next clip is, for me, a bad attitude just from the fact of really, it may look like nothing really happened here, or it was just a mistake, but when you kind of look into it a bit deeper, I think it's pretty clear what this Renault was trying to do. The blue and red Renault, let's slow it down. You can see that he's on the outside. Obviously the orange, whatever that is, BMW has gotten up the inside, and he's well up the inside, so the corner is his at that point. But what happens is basically the blue and red Renault just drives into him, essentially. He's never making the corner at this speed. He just continues to drive, and I think that this was done maliciously, personally. I think that the blue and red car he did this on purpose because he's annoyed at, he couldn't just give up the position. And a lot of people, you see this a lot, that even, you're beaten, that you're not going to be able to get an overtake done, and instead of accepting it and staying back and just living to fight another day and trying on a future corner to get an overtake back again, people don't, and they seem to just they'd rather crash somebody out than lose a precious position. Thankfully, or unfortunately for the car that was ahead of both of these two, I guess you could say, but the blue and red car just took somebody else out completely. We can see it from his perspective here. When you look at it like this, you can kind of see at this point he should just be backing out. Braking in a straight line, waiting for the orange car to get turned into the corner. And again, a smarter driver would have tried to get a better run out of this chicane to then try and get an overtake further up the road. But we don't see that. We see a pretty bad attitude from this driver who just decides to, drive anyway. There's no way he's stopping for this chicane. He just turns in regardless of what's there, taking way too much speed around the outside. Can't make the corner because of it. Ends up taking out a car ahead of him as well. And, I guess you could say that, the right thing happened, that the orange car managed to get ahead anyway. But for me, this seems malicious to me. This isn't the sort of thing that a driver would do if you're keeping to the rules. You know that you've lost the corner. You're not going to make the corner and turning in like that anyway when there's another driver there. It's totally, that's totally not acceptable. So, and just to point out, I just wanted to mention it just before people start mentioning it in the comments, because they might. You could say at this point, at the point of contact before the apex of the corner, that the orange car is no longer halfway alongside, but he's only in that position because the car on the outside has completely disregarded any potential to take the corner properly. He's just, driven alongside. And he even, you can see he's braking, and then he lets off the brakes. You can see it on the brake lights. He lets off the brakes and then starts turning immediately at the same time. And for me, that is clear as day that he's either done it maliciously to take out the orange car, or he has very bad perception of what's around him and didn't know the orange car was there. But for me personally, I don't think you could not know that orange car was there when he's so far up alongside and even ahead coming into the corner. So poll in the top right, let me know what you think. Is it the blue and red car's fault? Is it the orange car's fault? Or is it just a racing incident? You guys let me know. Let me know in the comments down below as well. But for me, I think this was either very maliciously done or from a very dumb driver. So third clip is not quite as bad as the previous two. It's just a little thing, but I also feel like it does show a little bit of a bad attitude to essentially, like I said previously, not really care about the rules. And it looks innocuous, this movement, but you can see that the green Lamborghini, he gets up the inside coming into the corkscrew on Laguna Seca, and he pulls off a pretty good move. It's a nice move up the inside, gets the job done. He's more than halfway alongside, as you can see, for the apex on the first part of the corner. Easily done. And at this point, he has the racing line. And what should happen at this point is that the grey Lamborghini should back out. He's behind. He's been overtaken. The green Lamborghini now has the right to the racing line for the next corner. But he doesn't do that. He basically shows a disregard for that kind of rule and just doesn't bother and just continues to accelerate, hit the back end of the green Lamborghini and spin him around. And again, for me, this was done maliciously. He probably knew that was going to happen. And it's just, it's just a kind of the kind of attitude that you don't really want to see in racing. You don't want to see people disregard, the proper rules and what you're meant to be doing in any kind of situation. And for me, that would be entirely the fault of the grey car for causing a contact that he could have quite easily avoided by just backing out of it. And just for the avoidance of any doubt, we'll back this up with the rules of racing document. The guiding principle is that the driver on the outside should be at least level, front axle with the driver on the inside to have a claim to the racing line on corner exit. So, we've been over this in previous episodes as well. Go check those if you haven't seen them. To have any claim to the space on the exit of a corner, you should be level. And then we've obviously seen what you have to be. You have to be more than halfway alongside on the entry to a corner or the apex of a corner if you're overtaking up the inside as well. But on the corner exit, you have to be level. If you're less than level with the car who's on the inside, you need to back out of it when it comes to corner exit. And as we see from this clip, it's very clear that, he's nowhere close to being level with the car. He's almost entirely behind, and he's nowhere near up the inside enough to be able to get an overtake into the next corner. So I think he's just annoyed that he got overtaken and kept his nose in. So yeah, I think this one's pretty clear cut, but you guys let me know in the poll in the top right. It will pop up on the card on the top right hand corner of the screen, and let me know in the comments as well if you think differently. But for me, I would put this completely down to the green for a green Lamborghini, the grey Lamborghini, not the green one, the grey Lamborghini for just basically not backing out of a situation that he should have done. And our final clip is a bit of a mess, I think it's fair to say. We've got five laps in this race. We're on the first lap. We're coming to the end. This is the end of the first lap. 4 people in the race, and they're all together. And basically, someone goes for a crazy overtake, doesn't get the job done. It's a total mess. And then the same person who went for the overtake in the first place then completely crashes out the car that we're looking at. So let's scroll it back, and we kind of need to be looking at the mirrors of this car a little bit here to be seeing what's happening. But you can see that the Ferrari there, obviously getting a nice tow, nice slipstream, and you can also see, whereabouts the Ferrari is from this indicator here. But it seems like the blue Sauber manages to get his braking done at the right moment, but the Ferrari doesn't, and outbrakes himself. Goes for the overtake, but carries way too much speed into the corner, as you can see. So he carries so much speed into the corner that he ends up going out wide. It bounces off the wall and then causes ridiculousness, for everybody else. But then seemingly, still manages to continue because of the various ghosting and whatnot. And then again, we can see coming up to the next corner, the Ferrari is still right there. but obviously lost a lot of speed from the incident. And as we continue on, he just immediately goes to the back. You can kind of see in the mirror as well down here that this is like the back end of the Ferrari right there. And he just, steams into the back of the blue Sauber. And that's what, you can even see the acceleration from the Sauber as he gets hit in the back. So this was just a mess, And I can't really put any blame on anyone other than the Ferrari in this incident. It was a bad move in the first place, and then after the mess that he caused, then rams into the back of the Sauber. Whether it was just through lack of skill, or it was just a bad attitude of I'm just going to come through here, and because it didn't work out, then I'm going to take you out because I don't know, I have the right to just be able to, I should be winning a race regardless of, how good anyone else is. There's all sorts of different attitudes that you get with racing, and people thinking that they deserve to win races just for the very fact that they are participating in it. But it's not always the case. You're not always going to be the best driver, and if you make a mistake, sometimes it's better to just, own up to those sort of things and be a bit magnanimous about it. But hey ho. You guys let me know if you think differently in the poll in the top right. Was this any fault other than the Ferrari? Did the Sauber do something wrong, the blue Sauber? Let me know down below in the comments as well. But yeah, a little bit of a mess this one to finish us off. So that's pretty much it for this episode. Let me know your thoughts down below and in the polls on the video itself. You can find in the video description all the info and links that you may need to submit your own clips. And if you'd like to support me, you can do so on Patreon by becoming a YouTube member or simply subscribing and liking the video. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.